He threw the wine glass first. It hit the wall beside my head, shattering red across the white paneling like blood. $10 million? He screamed, spitting the words like they tasted wrong. How the hell did you— The room froze. Turkey untouched. Laughter evaporated. My aunt gasped, her pearls trembling. My father didn't move. He just stared at me, jaw set, a quiet recognition behind his eyes. That was the moment my cousin's world cracked. Mine had cracked years earlier. We grew up together. He was the golden one. Private schools, designer clothes, new cars before he even had a license. I was the quiet shadow at family dinners, wearing hand-me-downs and keeping my head down while he bragged about ski trips and college parties. His mother called me sweet. That word people use when they think you're harmless. He used to throw me his old sneakers, saying, "They're barely used, you'll get more wear out of them." And I smiled. Every time. Because I learned early that people like him only see power when it's loud. I preferred mine silent. My parents didn't have much. My dad worked 2 jobs, my mom clipped coupons. But what I did have, discipline, was something he couldn't fake. He thought wealth was inheritance. I knew it was leverage. I started my first company at 21, a logistics platform, small, simple, built on efficiency. I sold it 4 years later for $1.8 million. I didn't tell anyone, not my dad, not even my mom, especially not my family. Then I built another, an automation firm. Partnerships, patents, quiet negotiations. I learned to keep my mouth shut and my head low. Silence became my camouflage. He was busy networking, which meant posting pictures on boats with other rich failures. His father bailed him out 3 times before he was 30. Still, at every holiday dinner, he'd make a show of pitying me. "So, still working that little tech thing?" he'd say, swirling his wine, pretending to care. I'd nod. "Yeah, still working it." He had no idea the company had just closed a $60 million Series B round. I noticed it first when he asked for a favor. Something about a loan, a temporary situation, a project that just needed a little push. The arrogance dripped between the words. I declined, politely. He laughed, as if I didn't understand how money worked. So he went to my father, told him I was acting brand new, said success had changed me. When my father asked me about it, I smiled. I told him the truth. Maybe it's time it did. That night, my cousin sent me a text. "You'll regret this. We're family." He was right. I would regret it, if I didn't handle it properly. Revenge isn't rage, it's arithmetic. It's not about shouting louder, it's about waiting longer. So, I waited. When his startup went under, I was already there, quietly sitting in on the investor calls, watching his numbers collapse. I knew the investors he owed. One of them, actually, was me. Through a shell company. He didn't know the $250,000 anonymous investor who funded his last round was me. I wanted to see what he'd do with it. He wasted it. Lavish offices, influencers, parties. Classic him. When he couldn't deliver returns, I called in the debt. His accounts froze within days. Still, I stayed silent. I let him spiral. Until Thanksgiving. The table was heavy with food and hypocrisy. My aunt bragged about her son's new opportunities, my uncle laughed too loudly, and my cousin avoided my eyes. He looked thinner, more desperate. Then my father said it, without meaning to. He was proud. Too proud. My boy's done well for himself. $10 million in assets now, isn't it? The silence after was surgical. My cousin froze mid-bite. His fork hit the plate like a trigger. Then came the glass. Then the shouting. "You think you're better than me?" he screamed. "You think money makes you—" I didn't answer. I just watched him unravel in real time, like a string pulling loose. My aunt stood up, screaming at my father for lying. My uncle demanded proof, and I gave it to them, calmly. Pulled up the Forbes feature on my phone, the one that dropped 2 days earlier, the one that named me as the majority shareholder of the automation company now valued at $80 million. My cousin went pale, then red, then silent. That was the real payoff, not the wealth, but the look. That flicker of realization that every ounce of privilege he'd been handed, I had built from scratch, and built better. After dinner, I found him outside. He was sitting on the porch steps, staring into the dark. "You planned this," he said quietly. "Planned what?" I asked. "This," he gestured at the chaos inside. "This whole humiliation." I looked at him, really looked. The golden boy with cracks all over his shell. "You humiliated yourself," I said. "I just let the truth speak." He didn't respond, just kept staring into nothing. A week later, I got a call from the bank. He defaulted. His accounts were seized, his car repossessed, his apartment gone. He called me once after that, left a message. "Congratulations," he said, "you win." I never called back. Winning was never the point. Control was. Sometimes I replay that dinner in my head. The moment his face collapsed under the weight of truth. The sound of glass hitting the wall. My aunt's scream. My father's quiet pride. It's not joy I feel, it's stillness. Because revenge, when done right, doesn't need fire. It just needs patience and silence. He grew up believing the world owed him everything. I grew up knowing it owed me nothing. The difference? He demanded. I built. And when the moment came to collect, I didn't need to raise my voice. I just showed him what earned really looks like.